with a very special guest. So please welcome Shivam Bhatt.
Hello, thank you so much.
Hi Shivam, how are you?
Hi Shivam.
Thank you guys for having me.
Oggi parliamo di Commander.
Talking about the fact that we are players that enjoyed the format. So 2020 was the year of Commander for Wizard, but it was the year of also unfortunately of the pandemic and the COVID and for the rest of the world. So we have seen a rise in the use of
You guys got hit very hard by that too.
Exactly.
It was surreal at the beginning because the whole world didn't know what was coming, and the first news where there is this virus coming, and at first people didn't believe it. A lot of people, well, I know that in America it's even worse, but people don't want to wear mask. And there are the same here. There are some of people here.
We had lockdown, so we could not.
For the first 2 months, we couldn't go out
completely.
Only to buy groceries.
We spent 2 months with our family, closed, like in a bunker, and it's very, very, very strange situation. So, the 2020 is like right. I don't know,
and outside of the time.
I don't think as at the 2020 as an year is like a
black hole.
Yeah, a black hole, like a pause between the 2019 and 2021. Yeah, and this is quite unfortunate because 2020 was the year of Commander, and we could not play Commander
in real.
At all in real. So this led, of course, the rise of softwares like Spelltable and. I think. What do you think about Spelltable? Is it good? Is it a good way to experience Commander?
I think Spelltable saved Magic. I think Spelltable is the reason that Magic didn't just die in 2020. Magic, like think about it. Magic, with the coronavirus, we had to stop all GPs. We had to stop all in-store events. We had to stop going to your friend's house to play Commander. And literally, like all we had was Arena, and Arena is just for drafting and Standard. Let's be honest, and Standard sucked this year, right? Drafting was great, Standard sucked. So there was nothing. So the fact that Spelltable existed, and the fact that Spelltable existed specifically for Commander, so that we could all socialize and play games with each other, and more importantly, it was a side benefit of I can play now games with my friends who live far, far away from me, or even on the other side of the planet, we can sit and play games together that we could never do before anyways. It's amazing. Spelltable is like the future of Magic, not just like the pause that saved us during 2020. This is the way I see a lot of Magic just being played. Because like I want to, like all of my friends live very, very far away from me, right? Like I want to play with folks in England or folks in Russia or folks in Italy. And I don't want to wait till Command Fest to do that. I think Spelltable is phenomenal, and it's like maybe one of the best things to happen to Magic ever.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think it's a good way to preserve the tabletop reality of Magic because I think in this case it was only the only way to play tabletop
you still
Magic.
You still have your cards. You're the feeling of shuffling cards is something that always people misses, and you had that. I mean, it's something that seems trivial, but it gives you also a reward for building your deck, for maintaining, for choosing the cards, of choosing the right type of lands, of basic lands you want in your deck, and then you can't play it. You have to play Arena. With Spelltable, you could still use your card.
Exactly. You absolutely got it. Exactly. It's the feeling of personally playing Magic.
Speaking always also that it saved Magic because nowadays Commander is one of the biggest way to play Magic, I think, And this is very important.
Yeah, and I think that also the format itself is the reason why more people are engaging and are playing Magic, because some new people, some new players know Magic for Commander because
they come into the game because they friends play Commander and they start playing Commander.
Just as me, I started play Commander 1 year ago thanks to Ego, but I think this is the very good thing of Commander, because it can gather people.
It embodies all the good aspects of the game. It is the gathering, it is playing with your friends, it is using your cards without fear of not only judgment, but of one card being too weak in the format, because you can play whatever you want. And usually you can in Commander.
Exactly.
It's not that there are cards that you can't because they are too weak.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think also one of the maybe downsides of Spelltable, though, is the fact that because Spelltable has given a global community the ability to play against each other, it means that the rush to optimize is there, that there's a meta game, as it were, that people start to congeal, because Spelltable acts like a big local game store just for everybody. Right.
Yeah,
so when you start playing, you get people who are like, oh, I played against this and now I want to kind of optimize. And it kind of speeds up the evolution of Commander a lot. It makes the decks change faster than they did before. But I think Commander by itself, though, because of the nature of the personal way we build our decks, that I think we're still going to have individuality and still have personality in our decks. That is going to be like still able to keep at a lower power level, but people have to be more conscious of that. People have to be more willing to not chase after the hot thing they just saw. And Spelltable does make that a little bit more challenging, but at the same time, having Magic is better than not having Magic.
Yeah, exactly. We know. And
one of the things that
it's weird.
One of the things that Spelltable is missing, also because I mean, we tried playing between friends. We used it when you were home and with other people during the lockdowns when we couldn't go to other people's home. And with friends, I mean, it's easier. When you go to the Discord server, that there are plenty now, and there is when there were the Magic Fest online, and you start playing with people that you don't know. I mean, the problem with that, one thing is that you don't see other people's faces, because there is the video camera is pointed on the field because you have to see the cards.
Yeah.
But you talk with people without seeing their faces, and that is something that I think they could improve. You should have two cameras or a way to see the people's faces to get the full experience, because sometimes it's a bit of alienating.
To maintain the social aspect of playing.
You don't connect with them. I mean, you talk to them, you speak, and you can tell them. I mean, they were, all the people I played against were always such lovely people and very kind and everything, but you don't get the same engagement when you are sitting down. Even when I went to Magic Fest, I only went to one because it was the last one in Italy, and before they closed. And you get down to a table and you sit there, even with people you don't know. Seeing them, it's easier. It's everything smoother when you can see their faces, see their reaction. See, if you make a joke about one card, you see if they get the joke, or maybe you understand that this is their favorite card and they get upset. But at least you can see that and you can react to that.
Yeah.
Yes, I 100% agree. But I mean, the problem is, getting one webcam was very hard for people. Getting two webcam is super hard for people, right? Like, it's expensive, and setting it up is very difficult. And like, I knew people whose experience with Spelltable was, I take my laptop, put it on my school books, and point it down at the table, right? That's very, I mean, you do what you got to do, right? Like, so
yeah.
I think there's places for it to grow. And I think that you're absolutely right. Being able to see people face to face. That's why when I do my podcast, for instance, I like to do video chat because I want to see you. Because when we talk, when we see each other, that's like, it feels right. It feels like we can communicate without stepping on each other. And when we're playing a game of card game, I can say, yo, hold on. I want to play a card. And you guys can see and understand. And it works out. Especially when you're playing with people who don't share a language, right? Like being able to see and visualize and say this, it makes sense. But it's difficult. And I think we did what we could given the pandemic, but I think going forward, we should be able to see cool things like that. I don't know. I'm super excited. I think it's a great innovation. But I still hope that like Magic Fest come back because Magic Fest is so much fun.
We opt for an improvement, but I think we had it's a very good start for.
Yeah. And as you said,
for playing
at least we could play Magic and we could use our cards.
Think about it,
and we could speak with our friends.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. These guys made Spell Table out of nowhere in the middle of a pandemic. In like 2 months, these guys put it together and threw it out there. The fact that it existed at all is like a miracle, you know.
Yeah. I mean, because we know you are an Hindu priest, right? I mean, I heard you talking about that, and it's kind of intriguing because we don't know that much about your religion here, and also because sometimes religion and games are something that usually don't go together. And if you wanted to talk about that a little bit.
What was your relationship between your faith and your hobbies? And
so here's the thing, right? Like, are you familiar with the PC game Diablo? Like the Blizzard game, right? Diablo, you go run around, you kill things, you kill monsters, you fight against a devil.
Yeah.
It was made by Blizzard, right? And so I used to play a lot of Diablo. And in Spanish, Diablo means devil. You are like, paladin, you're going and fighting the devil. And two of the guys I knew who were my most diehard friends who would grind with me and play Diablo were Lutheran priests. They were like actual church guys who had like on Sunday would go and preach sermons and then on Monday would go and grind Diablo games with me. And I'm like, isn't this against your religion? Shouldn't you not be playing? And like, what is more Christian than killing the devil over and over again? And I was like, that's fair. And that's when I was like, you know what, man? It's like, we don't have to be stuffy old people. Like, I don't need to be an old conservative and like, oh, no. Playing games will tarnish your soul, blah, blah. Who cares, man? I go to a Nine Inch Nails concert. I listen to death metal. I can still be a Hindu priest on the weekends. It doesn't make a difference. Because the thing is that like, especially in games like Magic, in group games, what I get from my faith and my tradition is exactly what you wrote here. Empathy is the ability to bond with people, to connect to people, to understand that we've all got our own problems that we're dealing with, that we've all got our own way of relating to the world. And I use my tradition to help me connect to other people. Because when you're playing a game and like on the internet, like I'm 40 years old, right? I've been on the internet since it started. I've been on the internet since I was like maybe 15 or 13, even with like, old modems. And the thing I've learned is that it is very easy to use a shield of anonymity to hide yourself, put out the worst things in the world, and then walk away and disengage without thinking about who's reading it on the other side, right? Like you can just write slurs or write crap or just talk shit about people. And on the other side of the screen, somebody's going to read that and they're going to be hurt and you're going to already fired and forgotten, walked off and moved on to the next thing. But when you grow up and you learn that, oh, these are humans and these are people who are also reacting, it teaches you how to speak with a more empathetic way because I get nothing from hurting you. It makes me feel better temporarily, but it doesn't make you feel better and it doesn't make me feel better in the long run. And it doesn't solve the problem we had between us anyways. Right. So it's it's like a short-term high for like a very long-term negative impact. And what I use my faith and my tradition for is that this game lets us bond with each other on a human level, face to face, eye to eye, playing games, playing cards at a level that we're all roughly equal, right? Yeah. Financial equality being notwithstanding, at least when we're sitting down at a game, you and me are the same people, right? And one thing is that like a lot of people will use Magic as a way that they can finally express themselves. They can express who they are internally in a way that is open and safe and caring. So like you see a lot of gay and lesbian and transgendered people playing Magic because they can sit there and be like, yo, man, it's just about the cards, but I can be gay here and it's not going to make a difference. And we can have a good, fun game and you're not going to judge me for who I am. You're going to judge me because I terrored your commander, right? Like, and that's a much better way to relate to each other. But we see a lot of times that people will say like, yo, keep the identity crap out of the game. Like whenever I'm playing, like when I was talking about Kaladesh and stuff, people would be like, why are you complaining, man? You got a brown dude. Shut up and sit down. They gave it to you. And because what that's doing is that's what you're saying is you're not like, oh, I want to keep politics out of the game. You're saying that I preferred it when the politics of the game agreed with what I believed so that I didn't have to think about it anymore. That's what that means. Keeping politics out of your hobby is not keeping politics out. It's just keeping politics that you don't agree with out. Like everything is political. Everything has a layer of like bias to it, right? So everybody's like, oh man, I don't want to see this gay stuff in the game. I don't want to see like, you know, whatever the Tomek in War of the Spark and Ral Zarek being like boyfriends. Yeah. I don't want to see that. It's like, yeah, but you were okay with Chandra and Gideon 10 seconds ago. They had a relationship, but that was a relationship that you had agreed with. So you were okay with that. But that's a political choice somebody made, right? Like, so what I want to do and what I try to do is help people understand the value of empathy, the value of being able to allow things to happen, to allow people to be, even if you are not, you know, fully in charge of it, or if it's not going with what your tradition is. Because like, look, dude, I have to play with white people all the time. Like they eat meat. I'm a vegetarian. I'm not going to sit there and tell you can't have your beef stick at the commander table, right? Like I don't drink, but if you brought a can of beer, I'm not going to say like, oh, look at those filthy alcoholics sitting and playing Magic with me. Like, come on, you got to do it rightly call me an asshole, right? Like, but it's the same thing. And like, look, I just want to play the game. We just want to sit there and bond and talk about Magic. And I just want to be able to do this where you're not also thinking, like, look at that brown guy sitting here. So when Aether Revolt came out, and they had that vehicle, they had a vehicle that was that 7-Eleven, which was a big ship. It had like a crew cost. 7-Eleven is a convenience store in America that's normally run by Indian people. And it's also like a Simpsons joke and stuff. So when I was sitting there and playing, and they're like, oh, are you going to give me a Slurpee with that chip? Or, oh, are you going to like, you know, can I get a hot dog to go with that? Because you would get all these kind of insults and slurs that people would start making. And I'm like, yo, dude, I just want to play the game. We were doing fine about 10 seconds ago until you started making it personal. Right. And that's kind of what this is. It's like,
exactly.
I think that the whole point, it's not about social issues. It's not about like being woke or being progressive. It's about allowing all of the players to be themselves and just relax. Like I can sit down at a game of Magic with my friends and not worry about, oh, am I going to, you know, do I have to like be on my best behavior? Am I representing all Indian people by sitting here? Like, oh God, what kind of face do I present? No, I just want to sit there. I want to throw down my commander and I want to beat your commander up. Like we want to have a good time. That's all. And that's kind of the main thing that like when I'm on Twitter talking, right? That's the whole thing I'm going for is I want to make sure people understand that it's okay for other folks to play Magic. We're just all here to play Magic. Just let us.
Yeah, just let us. And I think that it's very easy to empathize with people like us. But I think that this aspect of Magic to a sort of to enable the empathy for other people, for people different from you, I think is a very fascinating aspect because I can see Magic as social, I don't know, social booster or a social way to improve ourselves, to empathize with other people.
Yes.
So I think this is.
I mean, think about it. Since I joined the CAG, I have gained so much empathy for people who play control decks or stacks or competitive games. I don't think that they're evil scum anymore. I think, oh, you're also human. It's okay. We all make bad choices in life, but you can play Winterworld. It's fine.
There are people too.
yeah, exactly. This is the goal. Yeah.
I wanted to touch upon you said about politics, but you kind of already said, I think, most of what there is to say, that because there are a lot of people that say don't talk about this when we are when we are playing, and because it happened to me also in other contexts, where the gaming, the hobby aspect of something, of one game, it is a sort of an escape from the world, and people doesn't want to hear doesn't want to hear people talking about representation and all this kind of stuff, but usually this is like human basic right. So as you said, it is, if we want to stay here and play without thinking about politics, then let everyone play and stay here. So you don't discriminate someone because of the color of their skin or their sexuality. You just let them play. And if they think something different from you, it doesn't matter. When we are playing, and you have to let them express themselves.
Exactly that. It's just like, because I mean, think about it. Some people just treat my own existence entirely as political, right? They're like, oh, keep that politics out of the game. No, you mean keep me out of the game. And it's just like, dude, I can't unbrown myself, right? Like this is how it comes. So we got to sit there and just deal with the fact that this is just the world we live in. I don't know. I think that one of the benefits of Magic being a global game is that it's taught a lot of us to understand other cultures, at least in terms of like, look, when we're sitting down at the table, we're just both Magic players. And that is gone. Like, we just need to move that to the next step. Like, we're both humans, like, it's okay. So what is Commander like in Italy? Where do you live?
Yeah.
We
live in Trento. It's in north of Italy. And you're
here. I think because I'm from here. He's living here.
I'm from the center of Italy, and I'm here for studying because I am a data scientist. I study data science and maybe until next year.
Oh, cool!
And the reality is is quite different. Also with different parts of Italy. Also northern Italy with respect to southern Italy, for instance, there are very different realities.
I think it also because the kind of people that live there. I mean, people from North Italy usually are a little bit closed. I don't know if you say that in English, but they are more introvert. So, for example, finding a play group, it's difficult because you have to know someone and then you have to kind of get inside and then it is like a bubble. You stay inside. And for example, we go to the LGS. When you go to the LGS, you meet some new people, but then you stick to your friends. So you go back to your cave, something like that. And here there is also the problem that we are a small town. I mean, it's not that big.
Not that big.
And we are scattered in the middle of mountains. So to go to other big cities, we have to travel like 2 hours. Yeah. And I mean, for me, it feels like our community is a little bit isolated from the others, and we always struggle to find new players, because also in the LGS here, when they come there, okay, maybe I don't know, as I said, they come there with their friend, they start playing between each other and then they leave, there is not so much
interaction.
Trying to reach for other.
At least we try to invite as much as possible. For instance, in WhatsApp or
we have
or
the
Discord group, and then we can organize some games, because at the moment we cannot can't play yet in the local game store, because there is a sort of lockdown, because a local game store cannot open.
No, it is open for sales.
just for selling and not for organized
but not
games.
for hanging out. Yeah, I know.
And this is one of the main problem of this year
that's
of
wild.
the pandemic. And talking about the community itself, I think is I don't know. I think that Commander is in Italy is still I don't know, a niche hobby. It's very, I don't know, with respect to the American reality, to the American world. I think it should be played more.
There are a lot of, because I think that the Italian mentality for games, something that I saw also in other games, in Warhammer for example, that a lot of Italian players, they are more like, they are spikes. I mean, they are
focused on competitive aspect. Maybe.
Yeah. So the very nature of Commander being for players, being casual and a social game, it doesn't appeal to everyone. If you think there is also a kind of sub format.
There are different formats, Centurion, which is Centurion was created maybe 1 year ago in Italy.
Yeah, and they made a format to play one-on-one.
Yeah, it's just like Commander 1v1 and. For us, it sucks because it completely annihilates the social aspect of the game and the casual aspect of the game, which is, I think, the most interesting part of Commander format. So I think that in conclusion, the Italian situation is quite. I don't know. It's like a work in progress, because
I feel this thing that is scattered around all over the place, and also for this these competitive aspects play a role in it, because people, as I said, they want to stay in their group, like their group is better. Not there is like a rivalities between the groups. Just, you know, your friend, you stay with them, and you don't try to go to another group.
And for that reason, local game stores should change something. Should engage more or organize more events to engage player to have the gathering aspect of Magic. So I think this is more or less the Italian situation. Yeah.
Man, this pandemic really made things hard for all of us, didn't it? Trying to actually get together to play Magic.
Yeah, it's hard.
Like, I hope that going forward we find a way out.
Well, but until yesterday, we had this kind of lockdown that at 10 p.m. we have to be home.
Yeah,
and this was really hard.
Oh, curfew.
Now is 11 p.m. So it was like a party yesterday, because it was the first time we could stay an hour more.
Yeah, we could stay, maybe order some pizza and then play after dinner, because I think in just 1 year we could not play.
Finish 2 games.
Yeah, we cannot play after eating some pizza at all, because we were forced to be at home before 10 p.m. So it was just like just like a miracle.
Yeah,
because we have to stay home at 11 p.m. So it's great. We can eat pizza and then we can play still other 2 games.
Before it was like you get out of work, you get to home of your friend like at 6. And you have time to do 1 game, then you order some food, and then you start the second one, and it's already time to go.
Exactly.
So it was really, really hard in this last few months.
Yeah.
And now at least
it's like being a child again.
Playable.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
And also like 11 go home, and 11:05 okay, time to sleep.
Exactly.
Because we are not ready.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and so I think we are at the end of this beautiful episode with our guest.
It has been great talking to you. Thank you very much for your time. It was amazing, and everything you said. It's very important, and
it was a very good episode because
the work. I want to thank you also for the work you do for the community. Really, what you said before, like being the tank for the Command Rules committee. It's like it's true. I've seen what people say to you on Twitter, and I can only imagine what it feels like to be like the target of the worries of all the people that care so much of the format.
And I think that this is very important also for the Italian community, because not everybody knows the rules committee and the CAG. So I think that this kind of podcast is very important also to Italian players to know which is the Commander world in all the global world, not only the Italian world. So I think this is a very great chance also to Italian community to listen to you, at least to talk with Italian players and to have some I don't know,
exchange
and to see the difference between the American world and the Italian world. I think this is very, very, very interesting. So I thank you very much for your presence here. We are very, very. It's a great honor for us having you in our show.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I mean, this is cool. I love talking to Magic people outside of my own experience. And more than that, it's part of my job. I want to hear from you. I want to know what your problems are, because I want to make the game as good as I can for you. And that means not just for me, for like everybody anywhere, because the whole point, Commander is the best way to play Magic. And if you can't tell me what's wrong, then I can't make it the best way to play Magic.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
But no, thank you so much for inviting me. I love talking to people, and God, I have a podcast. That's why I do this, right? Like I bought a brand new mic. You guys are my brand new microphone testers today. So this is super exciting.
Wow.
But yeah, so like my private messages are always open. I respond to everybody on Twitter about all things at all times. Yell at me all day long. I will happily listen to you. Because people yell at me all day long. So yeah, that's fine, dude. I love it. Come hit me up on Twitter. Find me at Gearboard Gears. It's good times.
Thank you.
Check out
so
my
much,
podcast, Casual Magic.
Yeah,
it's very great. I love everything you say, because it is really what I think Commander should be, and I mean, you really get it.
Yeah, exactly. Then the Casual Magic podcast is also similar to our podcast, because our podcast is Casual Commanders. So I think there is some
our philosophies are very, very much alike.
So thank you so much, Shivan, and have a great day. And we hope to.
Thank you so much.
To hear.
Yeah. E voi cosa ne pensate? Lasciateci un commento e, come sempre, ricordatevi di mettere mi piace al video, condividere e iscrivervi al canale. Se volete rimanere sempre aggiornati sul mondo di Magic the Gathering, ricordate di attivare la campanella per non perdere nessuna novità del canale. Da Magic è tutto, ciao e alla prossima!